Well, it has been a resilient quarter coming in from Bank of Baroda. The bank has reported profits in the current quarter versus the loss in the previous quarter, and although the gross NPA ratio remains fairly high, we have seen lower slippages as well as lower credit cost during the current quarter. The stock, however, is under pressure in trade. It is down over 2.5% in today's trade. If you look at the profits, well, it stood at 1209 crore versus a loss of close to around 1000 odd crore in the previous quarter. And do note that the bank had also reported losses worth 864 crore in the same quarter last year. The gross NPA ratio still stood fairly high at nearly around 8.8% odd during the quarter. However, the absolute GNPAs have come down by nearly around 5.5% on a sequential basis. The credit cost is lower during the quarter at 1.36% versus a 2.46% in the previous quarter. And if you look at the fresh slippages, that is also lower at 5,000 odd crore in the current quarter versus nearly around 11,600 crore in the previous quarter. The recoveries and upgrades have slightly improved to 4,400 odd crores during the current quarter, and the exposure to NCLT accounts is nearly around 48,000 odd crores with a provision cover of nearly around 95%. The bank has in fact degrown their deposit as well as the advances book. The domestic deposits fell 2.4% on a sequential basis, and the domestic advances fell 6.3% on a sequential basis. And on account of their recalibration on both the liability as well as the asset side, the bank has managed to improve the domestic margins to nearly around 3.12% versus the 2.7% in the previous quarter. In an exclusive conversation with ET Now, Sanjiv Chadha, who is the MD and CEO of Bank of Baroda, stated that before the second wave, the management had guided that the slippage ratio will be below 2% and the credit cost will be anywhere between 1.5 and 2%. And despite the COVID second wave, we should be able to deliver on the guidance. The provision cover on the NCLT accounts is over 90%, and the management expects some of the recoveries coming in from the NCLT accounts during this year. Their exposure to Vodafone is relatively small, and it is not something that may significantly impact the overall credit quality of the corporate book, said Mr. Chadha. He also stated that the management maintained tight discipline both on the liability as well as the asset side, which has helped them to improve the performance on the domestic margin front. There had been opportunities to grow other than the corporate loan book, which also aided the domestic margins. He also stated that they expect further 15 to 20 bips improvement in terms of the margins during this year and expect to get back to respectable return ratios over a period of time. Mr. Chadha stated that it is a great opportunity for them to collaborate with fintechs and expect a large part of the loan underwriting, especially on the retail book, to become digitized over the next 12 to 15 months.